We are live. Bang on time as well. So, good afternoon, everyone. Or good
Hello,
morning or
hello.
good evening. It depends where you are in the world.
Yeah,
Welcome
all
to
good
Health.
morning, good evening, good afternoon, good day.
Yeah,
As
absolutely.
long as
Welcome to healthierlife.tv. I think the name of this says everything. It's about health, but there's lots of different ways that things go off. Now, today on Wednesdays is the health angle, which is aimed more towards sports, which gives us so much leeway to talk about different things. It's not always necessarily about health, although what we say could be adapted towards health. Okay.
very well said.
So
Yes.
today's headline title, whatever you want to call it, is performance necessity. Okay. Yes, it conjures up lots of things to think about, but we are talking about sport here. Okay. So this is an episode for those people who are striving for something better. Okay, so if we talk about business or we talk about something else, you can relate it to getting fitter or getting
hmm
healthier.
hmm
Okay, and that's what this is all about. I'm just going to say this, and I'm going to hand it over to Warren just to say something. I don't want to hog it. You don't have to do anything in your life. Okay, you don't have to show up for your life. All right, you don't have to go to work to feed your family and yourself. Okay, I'm being silly here, I know a little bit, but you don't have to climb out of bed on a cold, wet, windy, rough morning every day. Okay, but some people do. You don't have to be concerned about being the best you can be, although we tend to veer towards that a little bit, as you can imagine. And you don't have to strive for an extraordinary life. Okay, that will give you the way we're going towards with this. So, Warren, what's your thoughts on my heading, performance necessity?
As I said to you when you came up with that idea, I said I like where you're going with this. So yeah, performance necessity. That's for me. That what that translates to is. Sorry, I'm just arranging myself around here a little bit. What performance necessity translates for me is what is it that it kind of ties in with last week's one about your outcome, and then also with what you've previously spoken about in the past relating to your self drive, your self motivation, and also if you want to talk about performance necessity as a layman in a layman's sense, then yes, of course, rest, nutrition, yeah, um, how you do perform on the day, and listening to your body. So for me, everything it encompasses everything really. Performance necessity. It encompasses everything that we've previously gone over and discussed.
Yeah, I think the level is more than adequate. Okay, if you are a little bit more than average, as most people do, okay, this takes it right to the other end of the scale. Okay, so what we're talking about here, well, look at it this way. We've all set goals, whether it's to save money for a holiday, whether it's to lift a certain weight or run a marathon. Okay, we've all done it, and we all do it every day, although you may not think you're doing it every day.
Yeah.
Okay, even making a shopping list is a form of goal setting. So,
Getting to work safely is a goal.
absolutely, absolutely. Some do it better than others with driving. Some of it's a bit. It goes into the mind, and you drive and you can't remember the journey. Other people crunch the gears, nearly hit cars because they can't coordinate as well. Okay, but let's just talk about goal setting for a minute. If you set a goal, okay, what you're then doing, you're then faced with either creating a list of things you need to do. Let's say an action list.
Yeah.
Okay. Whereas
Okay.
performance necessity is taking it that step further. Okay. So after you set a goal and you're jumping around and saying, yeah, I'm going to do this and do that. When you come back down, There's some things you need to do. Okay, and if you want to take it to a high level, there's going to be performance necessities that you have got to do or must do. They're have tos. Okay, that's how far I'm taking it forward. Now, if you're an average person, and we deal with everyone on here, I'm average, but we deal with average people. And if you, as I say, if your goals are quite small, please stay on the line, and because it's the same for you as well. Yeah. Okay, the only difference may be intensity. That's all it is.
What you're alluding to in terms of performance necessity is essentially intensity, right? But one person's challenge, physical challenge, might be another person's warm up. Okay,
absolutely.
Or might be another person's breeze, and it's the same as the analogy that one person's garbage is another person's treasure. It's not a one size fits all. However,
absolutely not. No,
going back, it needs to encompass everything. If you want to have performance necessity as a phrase that you're using within whatever, it needs to encompass everything that's involved in that whatever. So if it's business, you need to encompass every aspect or element of your business or a business. If it's health performance, if it's fitness performance, you need to encompass everything that's involved with that. Otherwise, don't even think about it.
That's right. I was we were talking about business the other day, and so some of the goals that people set are really, really high, really high. But whatever we talk about in here, it's got to be individual. It has to be what you're looking for, not necessarily what we're looking for. Yeah. So so assuming that you have a goal, a challenge, it could be to build a business, it could be to take on a law degree, it could be a simple exam, it could be learning a language. It doesn't really matter what it is. It could be a health goal, it could be a fitness goal. It really doesn't matter what it is. But there are certain levels you have to think about. Now, I'm not putting anyone down here, but for this particular one, we are talking about what is a necessity. You've got to do it. Okay. If people just want to do things on a mediocre level, not a problem at all. That's down to you, the individual, because in again, we always talk about this. You're the one who has to face the mirror.
Yeah.
Okay? So you're happy with what you're doing. That's great. It's fantastic. But
however,
sorry, go on.
Although, sorry, Paul, but I want to stress something that I think is quite important here, is that if you're one of those individuals that practices everything relating to a subject like health, and you practice everything relating to overall health, but your performance is moderate, okay, then your results will be moderate. But at the end of the day, you're far further ahead than the majority of people in any case, because for the pure fact that the majority of people just do not think about everything. They practice on one or two aspects of it, and they think, "Oh, I'm doing really well," but they're not ready.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I'm referring to here is a sense of urgency. Mm-hmm. We're talking about a sort of very, very high desire level, strong feeling, conviction, commitment, those types of areas. And I think the sheer numbers of people that would get to that stage are very, very small. And I've got this little saying here, and I've got it written down. It's no necessity, no consistent action. And I think I've said it before, but it's true. And but if you want a powerful driver to move on, we're talking about a powerful driver as far as human in motivation and excellence, then performance necessity is the place that we're talking about. So yes. So have you in your life, Warren, had times where your performance needs to be upped to quite a high level? I mean, not that you don't do a high level now, but has there been times when you've had to go a few notches up?
Oh yes, of course. I'm actually in a bit of a slump at the moment from a performance perspective. I'm experiencing, because I'm kind of like I'm feeling almost as like I'm caught between a rock and a hard place. So my performance is not quite at the point where I expect it to be, or I would like it to be. Or no, I would like it to be. Let me rephrase it. How I see my performance being, it's not there. So
yeah, because the other thing is, when we're talking about performance necessity, we're talking about even as an athlete, we had times when we were in a maintenance phase, which means it comes right the way down, but you do enough to make it easier when you restart. That's if you went back down to zero and didn't do any fitness at all, it would be tough to get started again. It's the worst thing is when you go back to zero, doing zero fitness,
zero activity,
or zero health, to get it back to some kind of, first of all, to get back to normality. Takes a lot to do.
Well, one week of nothing equates to 3 weeks of actual productive time.
Yeah,
which you're missing out on. So for every week that you're doing nothing, you're actually in effect taking 3 weeks away from what you did before.
And they say the same about personal development.
Oh yeah,
I've slacked a little bit with personal development, and they say if you miss a month, it's going to cost you a year. Miss a month, okay? If you miss a week, it'll cost you a month, I reckon.
Yeah.
You can get back on the 8th day. You could get back into it, and it wouldn't take you that long to get back, but it still takes you some time.
But you're still back.
Yeah, but let's look right. Let's get back onto this performance necessity. It's got to be a must instead of a preference. Okay, there's got to be something driving you on. Okay, it's very, very important. Sometimes you have weaker desires, and it makes you. But what we want is you want to do something. You've got to grab it, take hold of it, and move forward. Necessity demands action. It's as simple as that. And when you feel necessity, or when you don't feel necessity, you sit around. I watch box sets. It's so easy to do that. You don't get involved. You just, and I tell you what, I could sit and watch box sets all year. Seriously, that's how much I like them. But that doesn't take you forward. That doesn't take you where you want to go.
Yeah, how does it grow you at all?
Most people sit around and go.
I'll give you an example of an exact thing like that I've witnessed in the past, where there was this couple that I knew back in South Africa. They owned a pub, and there was no necessity for them to grow their business. There was no, they were just happy being where it was, a run-of-the-mill pub with no real desire and necessity to grow it and keep on improving it. And they literally used to sit and watch box sets, like the same box sets, Kingdom of Heaven, Lord of the Rings, like over and over and over and over and over and over again. It was just, it was numbness. It was madness in essence. Every time I'd go there, for whatever reason, I'd go there and they would just be sitting watching one of these movies and not actually doing anything to develop themselves or grow their business or anything like that.
Yeah,
it was a shame.
Oh, for anyone in my business, I haven't been watching too many box sets recently. I want to make that disclaimer.
But you mean you could? You could.
I could do. Yeah, I could do.
Yeah.
And have done in the past.
Yes.
So, what we talk about, necessity really will inspire you to have a higher sense of motivation. It's as simple as that. And creates this, what I call the SOU, which is the sense of urgency. That we all must have at some stage. So if you're given you have to save this money by a certain date, otherwise you're going to lose money. I'll bet you get there. If you're saving a holiday, and you're going to lose your deposit if you don't come up with the money by an X date. And if you want to save, it's like a Christmas club, isn't it? Unless you commit early, like before. You need to start like a month before to do the whole year. Guaranteed, if you hit month 1 and you haven't done it, you're not going to do it. Okay, so by doing it maybe the month before Christmas, like on the November for next year, so let's say you're sticking £100 away, just for Christmas. You know, get your kids some presents and other people. You know, and you don't do it, I guarantee you won't.
No.
So you've got having a sense of urgency and a performance necessity has to be now, not tomorrow.
Otherwise, that momentum's gone. That spark.
Well, you lose the drive, the spark.
Yeah,
you should say the spark.
Yeah.
You know,
especially when it comes to a creative idea. It's like I had a creative idea when I was in the shower the other day, and it was relating to showers. And I thought, where did this idea come from? But it's an idea that came up, and I want to explore it because it came to my head for some reason. And it's created a sense of necessity for me because I've always wanted to create something. I've always wanted to develop something new, something different. Let's see.
Just quickly, I know it's not the same thing, but when you get these inspirations, do you write them straight down?
Yes,
I mean, there's no need to take the notebook and pen in the shower because it's not going to work, is it?
But typically, so I made a mental note in my head, make a note when I get out of the shower. Yeah. And then I forgot about it, and later on.
And I'll guarantee that if I don't write it down, as soon as practicable, it's gone.
Yeah,
it's gone, and I can't remember what it was. Let me read this out to you and see what it sounds like. I feel a deep emotional drive, and I'm reading this, by the way. I feel a deep emotional drive and commitment to succeeding. And it consistently forces me to work hard, stay disciplined, and push myself. Okay? That's what I've got written in front of me. Okay? So it does mean, and you've got to, if you find something that really resonates with you, you've got to stick it in front of you so you can see it all the time. Stick it in the car, stick it in the park, wherever you can see it.
Brian from Italy, how are you?
Sorry?
It's Brian from Italy.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Brian.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say hello. He said hello.
Hang on a minute. Hey, Brian, you're in Italy. You didn't tell me you were going there. He lives just around the corner from me. We do our training together.
Oh, okay.
I wonder, you better be doing training while you're over there. And hopefully you're on the Amalfi Coast, where it's really hilly, and you're going to get tired very quickly running up and down hills. So anyway, back to performance necessity. All right. So when this emotional drive of necessity doesn't exist, there is no tactic, tool, or strategy that can help you. It has to come from inside, and you have to do it straight away. Okay. And then over the period of time or whatever it is the goal you're setting, and that's how you get commitment. So
true. It's similar to, like, for example, when you have writers and they talk about like it's Amanda's 50th.
Hello, Amanda.
Happy 50th, Amanda. You have a blessed
she's not 50.
50's nothing. What's 50 these
days?
No,
I know, but
but I remember when I was a kid and people turned 50, there was a big thing those days, but not anymore. Of course, he's training. Now, when you look at writers, I've heard writers say before on more than one occasion, if a thought of inspiration comes to you, write. Sit down and write immediately. You may write 2 lines, a paragraph, a page, or a few sentences, but if that's all you need to write in that moment, write it down. And you may not write for another month. Another piece of inspiration may not come to you for another month. But the fact that you've written that down, that's opened up the doorway for more inspiration to come. Yeah. Because you've released that now. And it's the same with inspiration, with fitness performance and so forth, and health performance, whatever. Same like what you're saying.
Well, it's funny you should say about writing, because I'm quite experienced at writing. I mean, I've done over 1,000 articles, and and I found that early in the morning is good for me.
Yes.
But what I also found is you do get little inspirational things hit your head. Probably it's something you read a few days ago, and it's just suddenly re-emerged in your brain. But And all I do is make a note of it. Make a note of it, because I only need to write the heading down, the headline. If you write the headline down, or the words, the 2 words that form
Key
part of
phrase.
the headline, then that's good enough. That's enough to inspire me to write, you know. But in 2020, I haven't written anything. Really weird. I love writing. It's weird.
This year you haven't written anything.
No, not at all. I might have written one thing, but I mean, nothing, you know, nothing amazing. Other days I've done over 300 days a year writing, you know. So, but anyway, back to necessity. There are basically 4 factors, and I got this from I can't remember. I'll try and think of his name, but from his book, Brendan
Bouchard?
Yes, sorry. I only go all this stuff all the time, but
Brendan Bouchard, he's brilliant.
When we're talking about necessity and necessity basics, there's 2 internal forces and 2 external. The first one is identity. Okay, and I thought, identity? What does he mean by identity? And it basically is your own personal standards of excellence. That's what he's referring to. Okay, if you think about it, we all have standards. Some good, some bad, some not so good, some average. But we should be thinking excellent thoughts. Especially if you're doing sports, everything has to be excellent. It has to be that's going in your brain. We all know you have crap days. We know that, but we don't need to talk about it, do we?
Yeah.
So, but have a good, you know, personal standards of excellence. The second thing is obsession. Now, it's a bit of a controversial word, obsession. I thought I can see you champing at the bit.
Yeah,
no. Obsession. It's obsession with a topic. Okay. Now, we know that people have obsession. Stalkers have obsessions. People in cults have obsessions. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the amount of time that you're going to focus on what you're doing. It's passionate, isn't it? What you're doing. That's the type of obsession I'm talking about. If you do 2 hours for your obsession or 4 hours for your obsession, you switch off after the 4 hours. All right.
I think the difference that you're talking about is the difference between an obsession with an idea,
yeah,
or the obsession with action of an idea.
Yeah.
Because like a cult or a stalker, they have an obsession about a certain idea. Okay.
Or person.
No, it's an idea. It's an idea of a person.
Yeah.
An idea of being with that person. Yeah. So they have an obsession about an idea. Whereas what you're talking about, if I understand, and this is what I'm used to, is the obsession of action, of taking action on an idea. So without being attached to the idea, you're just obsessed about doing it. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, we'll all have our own different thoughts about what the word obsession means. But for me, it's about supreme focus. I think that's the best way I can describe it. Right. So then we talk about external forces, and it could be, and it's duties. The next one, duty. I think what he had written down was social duty. So whether that's on social media or just how people see you. Obligation was another one he had. And the last one was purpose, what we spoke about last week. Your outcome. Yeah. Okay, so that's that. And then the last one was urgency, the one I've been talking about. And giving yourself a real deadline. Okay, a date to work towards. I mean, there's got to be lots of variations of this, but that's basically what Brendan was talking about. And you've got to have a deadline. You know,
it's important. That's important, but you still also need to be flexible. You need to be flexible on it as well. So if
you roll with the punches.
Yes, you roll with the punches. So, for example, if your deadline, like in my business, in our mutual business, okay, I had a deadline for April in terms of where I wanted to be within the structure of the business. That wasn't going to happen come COVID-19, at least not for me. I quickly realized I'm going to probably have to move my goalposts. But I was obsessed with getting the action of getting to that. I was obsessed with the actions of taking the action to get to that point. But then I realized after the end of March that it wasn't going to happen for me for April. But that was okay. I was accepting of that. I didn't become obsessed with the idea and then get down on myself and get depressed because I never reached that goal within that time.
Yeah, I think we've said before about also being kind to yourself as well. By all means, have that date. By all means, do everything you possibly can to reach a goal. But if for some reason something going on in your life, maybe, and it's not an excuse, you need to clear that out of the way first. Maybe. And you won't be functioning properly unless, you've cleared the way.
Clear the path.
Clear the path. We're not saying you're not going to hit obstacles and hurdles and things like that, but there are some things that you need to move out of the way sometimes, before you can really get your teeth fully into something.
That's what I'm in the process of doing now.
Yeah. And there's lots of people in that position, whereas other people are getting on with things or appear to be getting on with things and doing extremely well. Don't write off the person that puts things aside for a little while.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, no.
And I think this is where, the performance necessity comes in. You've got to know when to hit it and hit it hard to suit you and your life, not anyone else's.
Or your style.
Your style, yeah, absolutely. But that doesn't give you the permission for procrastination. Okay.
And this is what I spoke about in my live video too. Yesterday, was it? Yeah, yesterday, about people not taking ownership of actually exercising and constantly making excuses for not being able to exercise. Yeah, and I was trying to give them that performance. I was trying to encourage them and get that fire in their backsides, because this is the same thing. People procrastinate too much about it, and they make excuses for it, and then they're blaming something else as opposed to just taking that ownership. And when you take the ownership of something, that necessity is instilled within you. Once you take that ownership, that performance necessity slowly becomes part of you.
Really absolutely does. Yeah. And I'm going to repeat what I said before, and this is extremely important, is that if you've got, let's say, if you're doing a project that you really want to get your teeth into, which is great, there has to be a cutoff time. We're not talking about the type of obsession that takes 24 hours, 24/7, 7 days, every minute of every day, because there are sometimes more important things. Your family, your kids, and different things like that are far more important. But that doesn't stop you, with this performance necessity for periods of time. Okay, so we're not talking about the obsession that takes over your life.
No.
Okay, it can a little bit. We accept a little bit, but not.
But that's when you become. That's when you're becoming obsessed with the idea.
Absolutely, yeah. So just bear that in mind. Now, let me ask you a question. We just, we've got about 90 seconds or so before we finish, or roundabout. Let me ask you a question, and this is to everyone. It's not just to Warren. Do you ever feel guilty? Now, if so, what about, if you can talk about it, and, what have you done about it?
Good question.
Yeah, and what I'm talking about there is, if you ever set a goal and don't follow through with it. That's basically what I mean. Okay, and then what happens? You're either frustrated, right, or you're happy. Okay, so depending on what you're aiming for and how well you do it, or how much work you put in on it, it's following through is everything, and then becoming consistent and committing to the process. Whatever it may be for you, whatever it is you're looking to do, it can be anything at all. We all have, as I say, we all have our own personal standards of excellence, and but I do believe part of winning, whatever winning is to you, is to have an obsession on some kind of topic. Be really deep down desire, the gut feeling. You've got the drive to do it. Whatever it may be. It could be just training. It's powerful. You know, I know a lot of people.
I'm starting to learn something new right now. I'm starting to learn some new tools and some new ideas on marketing for myself. And I'm becoming obsessed in the action almost. I'm driven. So I've been doing this is what I've been doing most of today is getting my head around what these tools are. Well, they're new for me. So yeah, it's exciting. It's nice.
Yeah, I had an inspiration earlier for another Facebook Live another day.
Another day, okay.
It will happen because I've decided. I've been thinking about it for a long time, but something hit me today for some reason, and it's to do with business. It's not to do with health, although my business is health and wellness.
Yeah, it is.
It'll be in the arena of networking, but which is very, very important for everyone who wants to get anything done with people, obviously. But
people equals business, right?
Yeah.
You're not doing much business without people unless you're in the AI industry, but even then you're still dealing with people to some degree.
Yeah, absolutely. And last question. Do you give it your all? Have you given your all? Just think about that. Yeah. Now, again, we're talking about allotted spaces of time. I think Tony Robbins calls it time chunking. What does Evan Pagan call it? No, I'm just thinking blocks of time. So if you set aside 2 hours to do something, make sure you do nothing but the 2 hours. You know, the moment you finish, clock off, go and do something else.
Yeah.
Go and have some lunch for an hour with the kids and excuse me, and the wife or your partner or whatever. So
even in saying that, even if you've only scheduled 2 hours to do that activity, you do that activity, and even if you have spare time afterwards, stop there.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to. There's a reason for it. All the top performers in different fields and things like that, and some of them only work an hour or two a day. Everything is geared to that hour or two a day. Okay. Now, for people starting at the beginning, you can't see that, and I understand that. But once you've got the wheels in motion, got the momentum. Once you've built the momentum, you could easily do it in 2 hours a day. But you have to build. You have to put the work in first, and all the momentum. It may take a few years to do that momentum, you know, and get the wheels turning. It's like getting the old locomotive going, isn't it? You know.
It is.
It takes 95% of everything it's got, at least, if not 100%, to get it going. But then once you've got it going, once you've got it going, it's like
you just keep stoking those coals, and then you don't have to worry about it. It'll just keep going.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, we're done. Anything else you want to say, Warren, before we go?
No, nothing else from me. Thanks. That was an interesting topic.
Yeah. So please let us know if you have got performance necessities, in what sort of arena, especially in health and wellness and fitness and training and things like that. But anything really, let us know on here. Make a comment. If you found this useful, please like and share this Facebook Live. Yeah, not his mad face though. All right. So, well, I've enjoyed doing it, and as I say, on Friday, if you're interested, we'll be talking about heart health. So purely about some healthy subject. So this is the health angle. So we're talking about sports and health, and and a few associated subjects. Anyway, great to see everyone here. I enjoyed it, and if you've got any questions, let us know. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll speak soon.
Speak to you soon, everybody. Have a beautiful one.
Bye.